Eamon, if we could ask you to sit there. Dominic Chu, thank you, everybody, for just being flexible on the fly. We're bringing in Bob McNally. He is founder and president of Rapidan Energy as well. And, Bob, we plan to have you on. Thank you very much for joining us. Obviously, this missile attack from Iran onto Israel happening real time, and a second missile strike is on the way. Hopefully that one will also be mostly or entirely intercepted. The price of oil was up 13% this morning. It popped a little bit on this latest attack that we just saw. But no Iranian oil or energy other than nuclear infrastructure was hit. So looking at what was done in Iran, what is your take on Israel's goal, but also Israel's sense and maybe guidance from our White House on the U.S. and global energy complex?
Right, Brian. So Israel's attacks, while audacious and sprawling, were limited to military targets, personnel, nuke facilities, air defense, missiles, etc. No energy, not even domestic energy in Iran, like refineries and so forth. If Iran's retaliation is similarly limited and we avoid mass casualties, God willing, we avoid mass casualties in Israel from what we're watching here on the screen, then I can see a lot of this premium that really started to get built into crude even before the attacks. There were indicators and warnings. I can see that dissipating early next week if this is just the third but bigger instance of sort of Iranian kind of air punches where there's exchanges, they're telegraphed, but as you say, no energy facilities are damaged, no attacks on shipping in the Gulf, etc. So, Brian, for me, whether or not we leg up again in crude depends on three possible triggers. One, will Iran cause mass casualties in Israel? God, we hope not. Number two, will Iran attack U.S. military vessels, bases, personnel? And number three, will they attack Gulf energy, critical Gulf energy infrastructure and flows, like in September of 2019 when they hit Abqaiq? Those are the three tripwires. If Iran stops short of that, even this goes on for days, I can think we're using words like inured and desensitized. I think that's right. I think the market has seen this before and could sell off afterwards. So it really depends on Iran's punchback here.
All right, and Bob, the market kind of going towards session lows and being a little bit skittish about that probably just tells you it's going to be a long weekend.
It sure is, and a lot can happen by the Sunday Open, absolutely. Israel, there is a risk Israel could start targeting Iranian oil infrastructure, but more likely refining, domestic facilities, gas stations, and so forth, maybe even cyber attacks. But the key thing for markets, and again, we saw this on September 19th, biggest open ever on the Sunday Open after the Iranians attacked Abqaiq. It reversed. Russia invaded Ukraine, $5 gasoline, record gasoline prices, crude roof to 120. It reversed. Two attacks, Israel and Iran, directly on each other last year. Brian was just recounting. They reversed. So we have a pattern here. And I think as long as the violence can be contained to military targets without mass casualties, there's a good chance President Trump still wants a deal. I mean, talks aren't going to happen, but there's a possibility that we escape major violence.
He gave, and Israel gave Iran 60 days to make a deal. This was, as we said at the top of the show, day 61, and Israel struck. You're referring to Abqaiq. What that is, folks, is that was a 2019 attack from Iran using drones on two Saudi refineries. That was the most serious attack that we have seen since then. It's about 6 years' time. This was the largest strike by Israel inside of Iran in about 30 years. Again, let's all hope and pray this does not escalate. But I'm going to ask you to speculate, Bob. If Israel, it's a huge if Israel was to attack, let's say, Kharg Island. Kharg Island is where 90% of Iranian oil exports originate. It's an island basically made for oil, and the super tankers come there, they fill up with oil, and they go out of the Persian Gulf through the Strait of Hormuz. If that were to be attacked in any form, what would happen to the price of oil?
It would roof. If Iran has said and promised, and I believe this is credible, if they can't export oil, nobody will export oil. And here's another thing, Brian. If you look at the second Gulf War, you look at the first Gulf War, you look at Operation Praying Mantis when we sank half the Iranian surface fleet in an afternoon in April of 1988. All three instances, the U.S. military removed the threat in hours to days. It won't be like this. If the Israelis torch card and Iran can't export 1.5 million barrels a day, I believe they will interdict shipping in Hormuz and possibly attack infrastructure. And it will not be a cakewalk. We'll prevail, but Iran has invested in thousands and thousands of munitions and missiles and electronic warfare devices. Look what the Houthis are doing, inferior to Iran, and you can't get through Bab el-Mandab. So if it gets there, we will measure the increments in crude by the $10 a barrel until we hit recessionary levels, probably in the low 100s. If it gets there, God forbid.